ZeverSolar, and with me is Shane Jurgenstein, who is our service coordinator. We'll be covering off on topics including an overview of ZeverCom and ZeverManager, an overview of Solar Cloud, connection methodology and specifications. I'll then pass you over to Shane, who will talk about the connection to Solar Cloud, and lastly, setting up the earth fault alarm. We'll answer as many questions as we can at the completion of the presentation. However, seeing as though we have quite a few people dialed in, if we can't get to any questions, we'll get back to you via email. We'd also appreciate that if you have any non-related questions to these topics, please send an email to the email address provided at the end of the presentation, and again, we'll get back to you shortly. ZeverCom and ZeverManager overview. ZeverCom and ZeverManager is essentially a monitoring device that collects data from the inverter and stores it in the memory. The data is then uploaded onto Solar Cloud via the internet, which is a web-based data management system. Solar Cloud also has the ability to generate reports of system performance and also live data analysis. The ZeverCom device is compatible with all of our single and three-phase inverters. The ZeverCom device is very easy to use and simple to install. It's connected to the inverter via an RS485 or Cat5 cable, and it is then Wi-Fi to a router. The ZeverCom is perfect for residential and commercial installs with 5 or less inverters connected. It does not need an additional power source as it powers itself from the inverter via the RS485, providing the ZeverCom device is within 10 meters of the inverter. The ZeverManager can also be utilized across the entire ZeverSolar inverter range. This includes single and three-phase inverters. It is more commonly used for commercial installations because it is perfect for installs with more than 5 inverters connected. It is also simple to install with a few minor differences. Similar to ZeverCom, it's connected to the inverter via an RS485 cable. However, rather than Wi-Fi to the router, it's connected to a router via an Ethernet cable. Another difference is that it has the ability to connect up to 50 inverters rather than 5 like the ZeverCom unit. The other difference is that the ZeverManager must be powered by an additional power source, unlike the ZeverCom unit that powers off the inverter. The ZeverManager comes with a power pack with an Australian socket. Both ZeverCom and ZeverManager are IP20 rated, unlike the inverter which is IP65. Therefore, they are not suitable for external mounting without the use of an additional weatherproof enclosure. These can be picked up from your local electrical wholesaler for around $15. Solar Cloud overview. Solar Cloud is a web-based app that was designed essentially as a monitoring tool for PV systems. Solar Cloud displays inverter power information, records events, and has the ability to generate reports. Solar Cloud can support multiple platforms such as iPhone, iPad, Android, and PC, and it has no demographic restrictions, meaning you can log into Solar Cloud anywhere in the world. As you can see here, Solar Cloud details the power output. This can be broken down into hours, day, month, year, and total. Solar Cloud has the ability to produce detailed reports, which can be generated manually, and the data produced can be broken down into periods as frequent as 10-minute intervals. Solar Cloud can also send automatic reports if a fault occurs. These are classified as an event on Solar Cloud. If you are viewing Solar Cloud on a PC or a laptop, it'll give you a more detailed analysis and will even generate information on features such as yield factor. This is for customers to work out how much they are saving. You'll need to enter how much they are paying per kilowatt hour when Solar Cloud is initially set up. And this feature is obviously optional and does not need to be utilised unless the customer wishes to do so. Carbon emissions avoided is another feature viewable from a PC or laptop, and so is the feature of the inverter temperature. This gives you a detailed analysis of the inverter temperature every hour since the unit was installed. I'll now pass you over to Shane, who will talk to you about the connection methodology and specifications.
Thank you for that, Dean. So I'll be going over the connection methodology and specifications. So as you can see in this slide below, this is the system layout for the ZeverCom unit. The main points to take out of this are that the inverter is connected to the ZeverCom via an RS485 cable, which is not provided with the unit. The ZeverCom may also come with a power pack, however the unit will derive its power from the RS485, so there's no need to connect this. The ZeverCom unit, once connected, will emit a network signal, which you'll need to connect to the customer's Wi-Fi network, which we'll go into more detail shortly. The internet will then connect to the Solar Cloud, which will update the information on the customer's Solar Cloud account. Connection to Solar Cloud. So as you can see here, this is the Solar Cloud registration page. It's suggested that you create an account prior to connecting the ZeverCom to the Wi-Fi. The email address that you fill in here will become the username for the Solar Cloud account. So if you're looking to having the information shared over multiple accounts, you'll need to create, obviously, multiple accounts. Once this page has been filled in correctly, it will send an activation email to the email address provided. This email will be valid for 24 hours, and once activated, the user will be able to access their Solar Cloud account. If you're adding the solar system to an existing Solar Cloud account, this step does not need to be repeated. This is the registration of the ZeverCom on Solar Cloud. So the first step is to log into your activated Solar Cloud account. You will then need to add a plant from the home page and will be required to fill in the serial number of the ZeverCom unit, which can be located on top of the unit as well as the registry key. So please note that if you enter the inverter serial number instead, it won't recognize this. Underneath is the plant info. This is the details of the solar system. So as you can see there, not all the information is required. The plant name is the name of the solar system, and this will appear on your Solar Cloud homepage when you log in, and this is how you'll be able to tell the difference between solar systems if you have multiple systems on your Solar Cloud account. You can also add a photo of the solar system if you'd like in this screen, as long as the photo does not exceed 5 megabytes. This is the first step in connecting the ZeverCom to the customer's Wi-Fi. So this step can be done on a PC, laptop, tablet, or smartphone. The device just needs to be able to connect to Wi-Fi. So in this step, you'll need to go to the Wi-Fi settings on your device and select the ZeverSolar network. So as you can see here, that's ZeverSolar 0017. However, the 4 numbers at the end may change on your ZeverCom unit. If this network is not showing, please make sure that the antenna provided has been screwed in properly and that the ZeverCom unit has been powered on through the RS485 cable. The next step is to click on that ZeverSolar network and enter the password. So as you can see, the password for this network is ZeverSolar, all in lowercase. For all the ZeverCom units, this will be the password. And this will connect your device to the ZeverCom Wi-Fi network temporarily. The next step is to open a web browser on that device. All web browsers are compatible, and type in the IP address provided here, which is 160.190.0.1. This should bring up all the device information, including the serial number and the registry key, which should match what is on top of the ZeverCom unit, as well as what you've entered into Solar Cloud. The next step from here is to go to the wireless button at the top of the page. If you're using a smartphone, the wireless option will appear in the advanced settings area, which you can see here also. In this step, we're connecting the Wi-Fi network to the ZeverCom unit. So you'll require the customer's Wi-Fi details. Then you'll need to locate the customer's Wi-Fi on this page and enter in their password. This will allow the networks to be connected and the information to be shared into Solar Cloud. Once this step has been completed, Solar Cloud will start to register the information from the inverter in approximately 30 minutes. A light underneath the power light on the ZeverCom unit will show up once the Wi-Fi has been connected. Immediately following this step, the ZeverCom will still show disconnected to Solar Cloud. but once SolarCloud does start to register that information, this will change to connect to SolarCloud. And it will also show the number of inverters that you've connected to this ZeverCom unit. To set up the earth fault alarm, you'll need to log back into SolarCloud and click on the plant that you've just set up. Once in this page, you'll need to go to the config heading at the top and report config, as you can see here, which is located at the top of the screen. Once you're in this screen, you'll be able to break down the events or faults into daily and monthly. To set up the earth fault alarm, we'll need to go into the event tab, which you can see is located next to those two buttons. You can change the settings in this heading to just for an earth fault or to all alarms, depending on what you'd prefer. If there is no fault, you won't receive a report or an email. Otherwise, SolarCloud will scan for an event or fault and send a report depending on the hours that have been set. So you can see here the default setting is to scan for an event or fault every 2 hours. However, this can be adjusted to between 1 and 24 hours. Once these settings have been changed, you will need to save it, and then from here you've set up the earth fault alarm. So I'll pass you back to Dean to wrap up the slideshow.
Thanks for that, Shane. Just on the SolarCloud, SolarCloud will shortly undergo a transformation and it'll be rebranded as ZeverCloud. It will still have all the capacity and functionality that the current SolarCloud has, but it'll be more user-friendly, it'll be easy to read data and obtain information, it'll be a more flexible platform, and it'll better represent our ZeverSolar brand, complete with the ZeverSolar colours. Just before we go on to talk about the earth fault alarm, just some important notes to remember. Each ZeverCom and ZeverManager device has a quick installation guide and user manual that's supplied with the device. These instructions are very straightforward and they give you a step-by-step guide to setting it all up. The ZeverCom unit is powered by the RS485 connection and does not require an additional DC power plug pack. This is as long as it is mounted within 10 metres from the inverter. The ZeverManager does require the additional plug pack as it is not self-powered. The additional DC power plug pack comes with the ZeverManager device, complete with the Australian socket. Both ZeverCom and ZeverManager are not IP65 rated, they are IP20 rated. This means they are not suitable for external mounting without the use of a weatherproof enclosure, which as previously mentioned are relatively inexpensive and can be picked up from your local electrical wholesaler. If you require further assistance and support after the presentation, please call the Melbourne office on 1300 101 883 or email salesau@zeversolar.net. The earth fault alarm. As per the AS5033 standard that's recently been implemented, the ZeverCom and ZeverManager devices both have the ability to send email alerts, which comply with the earth fault alarm standard. If Wi-Fi is not available, then the inverter must be installed in a high traffic area, and then the visual alarm is then taken into account. And on our inverters, we have a display panel that shows either an error code or an error message, and we also have an operating and fault light. These both act as a visual alarm. As mentioned previously, if you have any further questions, please call our Melbourne office on 1300 101 883 or alternatively send an email to salesau@zeversolar.net. Thank you very much for listening.